Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Royal Bank of Canada's Diversity Forum. My name is Ratna Omidvar. I am the Executive Director of the Global Diversity Exchange at the Ted Rogers School of Management at Ryerson. And why are we here and why are we partnering with RBC? The Global Diversity Exchange, as I said, is at Ryerson University, but we like to describe ourselves as a think and do tank. And we focus on the linkages between prosperity and diversity, and we amplify and animate these linkages to take them from aspiration or research or analysis or thought leadership and anchor them in practice. Now to supplier diversity, which I think is a really important subject, because as much as we talk about who companies hire, I think we should talk about who companies give their business to. That's also an important indicator. In 2012, we conducted some research with Dr. Paul Larson at the University of Manitoba to find out why and how companies in Canada were engaging with supplier diversity as a lever of inclusion. And we found some interesting things, and I'm just going to give you some high-level takeaways from that. So the research focused on organizations that buy goods and services from other organizations that are at least 50% owned and operated by visible minorities. It conducted an electronic survey of more than 165 organizations and a web scan of more than 138 in the GTA alone, accounting for over $100 billion spent in the region, or approximately 33% of the regional's economic activity. So it's not who you hire, it's who you do business with, which I think is an overlooked lever. And this is what we found, what Dr. Larson found. And I think, I will submit that the research is 2012. We do need to refresh this research, and certainly we should do so. So this is what we found. So whilst most organizations in Canada, especially the large national organizations that are subject to employment equity policies, have diversity policies, very few have supplier diversity policies. The organizations that do have a supplier diversity policy credit much of their success to top leadership that drives their efforts. We also found that organizations who inject diversity priorities into their procurement practices are diversity leaders. So no wonder that RBC is doing this. We also found that when large organizations choose to do business with diverse business owners, they are supporting the leadership development of those operators and creating a new platform of suppliers. So there are many, many benefits, and I'm sure you have a full day or a half day to discuss these benefits, but I'll just propose a few to you. First of all, tapping into supplier diversity will give you access to a far larger pool of suppliers than you would otherwise have. People tend to do business with who they know. We appreciate that. There's a lot of, and again, RBC has taken the lead in uncovering unconscious bias. We all have those biases. I have a bias too. I tend to hire women who are short. Right? That's my bias. Try and overcome that. Dana is slightly taller. So it gives you, a conscious approach to diversifying your pool of suppliers will give you access to suppliers that you would not know about. It will give you access, I think, to new ways that they are thinking about developing products, because they are closer to the ground and closer to a very large, growing, multicultural market that consumes differently and thinks differently. They may give you access to a different pricing strategy. And I think if organizations such as RBC and TELUS tap into this market, they're also subscribing to the larger aspirational, unstated goal of nation building. As starting out from where I started, when immigrants succeed, we all do. So I want to conclude my remarks, and I apologize for going off script, to RBC for their leadership. I want to thank everyone in this room. And it is now my pleasure to announce Donna O'Reilly, the Regional Vice President of Commercial Financial Services to the GTA.
And it's my honor and privilege to say welcome to our 2015 Supplier Diversity event this morning. I hope you get something really great out of it. We spent a lot of time putting this together, and it's so important to us. So what is supplier diversity? I think we got a little snippet there with the introduction, and that was wonderful, so thank you. But it really is about a strategic business process aimed at providing companies owned by Aboriginal peoples, women, members of the LGBT community, and other visible minorities an equal opportunity to become major suppliers to large corporations like RBC. So it's very important. We're very committed to this, and we want to ensure that there is that supplier diversity at RBC. So, and we've actually, so important, it's been built into our RBC diversity blueprint. So it's really baked into how we think and work and act, and it encompasses all the values we have at RBC. It's a real pleasure to bring Peter up and give him this introduction. Peter is such a well-rounded, smart person, and honestly, I'm so thrilled that he's RBC's global head of procurement.
So my non-banker friends call me the chief shopper for RBC. We do, as Donna said, we spend about $5.6 billion a year globally. And we have 39,100 suppliers at last count. But here's what's really interesting is, as business people, we all travel with this 80-20 rule, right? Well, in my case, 85% of my spend is with 1.7% of my suppliers. So it's very highly concentrated with big people like IBM and SAP and people like that to support the technology side of our business. But I got to tell you how critical it is that we have local business people who bring innovation and new ideas to us. And we're committed to that, and we're committed to our Supplier Diversity Program. We are principally organized by category. So there's different ways you can organize a procurement business. You can organize it by category, you can organize it by business unit, or you can organize it regionally. And what we found is it makes most sense to organize our business by category. So what that means is that I would have a team that just look after, for example, IT software. And they look after purchasing IT software globally. Because there's no point in me having somebody down in the Caribbean who may not understand the software sector trying to buy software for the Caribbean and someone in London, England doing that. So we do tend to be organized category-wise. And the benefit to you and our suppliers around that is our people understand the space that you're in. They understand your competitors. They understand the value our business units are looking for, whether it's capital markets, insurance, personal commercial banking, investor and treasury services. All these businesses that we have, they understand RBC's global needs. And so therefore, they're in a better position to have conversations with you around how you can add value to RBC around that. So our vision at RBC is to drive improved value and innovation. So note I didn't say just the lowest price. I said improved value and innovation in strategic partnership with RBC business units globally through having the best people, the best processes, and the best technology. Donna mentioned that I also chair an organization here in Toronto called CAMSI, which is the Canadian Aboriginal and Minority Supplier Council. So this is a group of about 74 corporates like Bell Canada, TELUS, TD Bank, RBC. And we're all committed to engaging minority suppliers to serve our needs, right? We all see a lot of value from that. We all work closely with certified members of CAMSI in order to do that. So CAMSI works with business owners like yourself and certifies you as being a minority supplier or an Aboriginal supplier. And that's really important for us because when we go looking for suppliers, we have a number of questions that we ask our suppliers when they register, and some of those questions are around the ownership of your company and whether in fact you are considered diverse under our definition of that. So the CAMSI organization that I chair the board for is focused on the development, resources, and networking for certified members. So if you don't know anything about the organization, I'd encourage you to give some thought around whether that or some of the other similar organizations can add some value to you as a supplier. Well, I'm really pleased to introduce Charles. So Charles is on my team, and Charles is actually an architect by training. He also has an MBA from Rotman School of Management. And the category that Charles is responsible for is all the suppliers to our real property needs. So if you think about it, being an architect is perfect, right? Somebody that understands real property, understand the kind of suppliers that we need in that space. And so he has worked on our team for quite a number of years. In particular, Charles is absolutely passionate about supplier diversity. He's been leading our effort along with a couple other team members that we've got here today. And I've never seen anybody so enthusiastic about sort of a side of the desk responsibility, because clearly his primary responsibility is around ensuring that we've got the right supplier base for our real property needs. But Charles is a true leader, very well known within our company around his capabilities, and very well known in the diverse supplier community. So Charles, I want to turn it over to you and say thank you very much.